To truly live, you must first learn how to die. Daily. Die every day to live fully is not a call to despair, but an invitation to awakening. It means consciously letting go of what is false, fragile, and fleeting, so that you can experience life with depth, clarity, and freedom. The Stoics practiced memento mori, the daily remembrance of death, not to create fear, but to sharpen presence. Each breath moves you closer to death. This is the way of life. The more you experience, the more you live, the closer you get to death. Can you feel your heartbeat right now? That means you're still alive, but each beat moves you closer to death. Are you ready? Here it goes. You die every day. Let me explain what I mean by this. Every time you breathe in, you are dying, and there is nothing further from the truth. Death is part of life. Avoiding it is postponing life. The idea of death brings urgency to the present moment. It strips away distraction. You begin to ask, if today were my last day, would this matter? And if not, you stop giving your life to it. Let's say you eat delicious food, you have fun, you go after the woman or the man you like, you have kids, you go on vacation, you get that job, you start that business, you travel, you read that book, you learn that skill, you help others. Most people fear death because they haven't truly lived. They are asleep in routine, clinging to comfort, waiting for someday. But those who die daily, by facing discomfort, by releasing ego, by embracing impermanence, they become free. Free from illusion, free from fear, free to live deeply, here and now. To die every day is to shed the layers that suffocate your truth, to burn away what is false so that what is eternal in you can rise. They fear regret, missed moments, words left unsaid, dreams buried beneath some days. They fear waking up too late, when time has run out. But there is another way to die every day, not physically, but internally. To let parts of yourself die, so that what is real, essential, and alive in you can finally emerge. In Stoic philosophy, the practice of memento mori, remember you will die, was not morbid. It was empowering. It was a daily call to live with purpose and clarity, to strip away illusions, to stop wasting time. Buddhist monks meditate on their own. They imagined their death not to invite suffering, but to cultivate presence. Because when you know that everything will pass, you stop clinging, and you start living. Each day becomes a sacred opportunity to shed a false identity and return home to your inner truth. The truth that doesn't need decoration. The truth that doesn't chase applause. The truth that simply is, if this were my last day, would I say this? Would I do this? Would I spend my time this way? And if the answer is no, you start changing. When you accept death, not as a distant event, but as a daily guide, your relationship with life transforms. You stop postponing your dreams. You start saying what really matters. You forgive faster, love deeper, listen more fully. You choose depth over distraction, meaning over motion. You stop being busy and start being awake. If this were my last day, would I say this? Would I do this? Would I spend my time this way? And if the answer is no, you start changing. You would never have fallen in love, started a family, traveled the world, made friends, learned skills, built a business, helped others. You become lighter, less burdened by opinion, shame, or doubt. You become bolder, willing to act, speak, love, and create. You become free, not in theory, but in being. You become grateful, not for more time, but for the moment you are in. In the same way, you must die every day for the new you to be born. In short, you would never have lived. I believe that the meaning of life is to die. What will you do today? Don't waste your life. Don't postpone life. Embrace death. Welcome it. Die every day to live fully. This is because the more you die, the more you experience, the more you live. And I believe that the ultimate goal of life is to live fully, to live abundantly, to live to the fullest. Well, that's because we misunderstand what it means to live. Some people may say that the purpose of life is to be happy, to be successful, to be wealthy, to be famous, to be powerful. But I ask you, what is the point of being happy, successful, wealthy, famous, or powerful if you are not alive to enjoy it? What is the point of any of those things if you are not here to experience them? Living is not just about prolonging your survival. Living is about experiencing life. It's about feeling alive. It's about going after what you want and having the courage to do so. In short, you live life to the fullest. What happens Falling in love kills the old you and makes you someone new. So when you look back at your past self, you realize how much you have changed, how much you have grown, how much you have evolved. And when you think about the future, you realize that you will continue to change, to grow, to evolve, to die and be reborn again and again, until the day you die. You will die sooner, yes, but you would rather have died than not live like that. They see their friends and family members die and they become afraid of death themselves. But here's the thing, if you really understand what I'm talking about, you shouldn't fear death. You should welcome it because it is through death that you live. Living is better than not dying. Dying every day, even if you don't want to, is better than not living. When you experience awe and wonder, you are dying. In other words, you die every day to live. If you stop breathing, if your heart stops beating, if you stop experiencing, you stop living. The only alternative to dying every day is not living at all. In short, you decide to not live at all. You will live longer, sure, but you would rather be dead. You would rather have died than live like that. Not living is worse than dying. Dying every day, even if you don't want to, is better than not living. When you laugh with your friends or you hug your partner, when you play with your children, when you watch a sunrise, when you eat delicious food, if you don't, you are wasting your life away. When you are angry, when you are sad, when you accomplish something difficult, when you learn something new, when you help others, you are dying. Everything you do, everything you experience, every emotion you have, every thought you think, you are dying. The next time you look up in the night sky and marvel at the stars, keep in mind you are dying. All these things kill parts of you, making you less than you were before you experienced them. This is why it is so important to experience life, to feel everything, to go after what you want, to go on an adventure, to try new things, to break out of your comfort zone. You see, we're often taught that death is something to avoid, something to postpone for as long as possible. Let's say you choose not to eat delicious food, not to have fun with your friends, not to pursue the woman or the man you like, not to have kids, not to go on vacation, not to get that job, not to start that business, not to travel, not to read that book, not to learn that skill, not to help others. Now let's do the opposite. So I want you to embrace death. It is through death that you live. For example, when you fall in love, you are no longer the person you were before you fell in love. Some people fear this process, especially as they get older. Think about it. And I know this may be a lot to take in. So let me give you another example. What happened to the caterpillar? It died. But what happened to the butterfly? It was born. The butterfly didn't exist before the caterpillar died. In fact, I believe that the purpose of life is to die. Yes, I said it. Now, some people may disagree with me. This is why I believe that the purpose of life is to die every day, to die in everything you do, to die in everything you experience. So my question to you is this: how will you die today? How will you live today? How will you experience today? If you liked this video, you will most likely like this one too. See you tomorrow.